Hey guys, welcome back to our weekly wrap up on the crypto markets. We had some very interesting news this past week with the CPI numbers and how that had some positive effect on the crypto market as a whole, along with some major news with Ethereum. So, what we're going to do today, as we have done in the previous weeks, is we're going to take a top down analysis about what's going on with the crypto market in whole by once again starting with the Bitcoin dominance, which, if this is your first time tuning in, wanting to have an understanding of what the Bitcoin dominance is essentially the percentile in which Bitcoin's influence over the entire crypto market determines the direction of the overall market, including the bias. So when we're looking here, we've been paying attention to this area of support that has played a major area of support in. As we've looked at this over the past couple of weeks, we've noticed that prices continue to drift downwards into this area of support. And so we're just basically coming back to review how the market has moved in our direction of bias. And essentially, that is what's happening currently right now, what has happened over the last couple of weeks that we've reviewed this itself. And so, what that really means is the more that this continues to weaken, the more we see the uptick of Ethereum in the altcoin market. And we happen to see that expressed over the last few weeks where altcoins have surged, overall outpacing the performance of Bitcoin. So guys, we just wanted to review this really quickly here to be assured that what we wanted to see, which was Bitcoin dominance continue to fall towards support, is something that is continuing to happen. And we will wait and see when price reaches this level of support, what type of reaction we will get. Okay, guys, so we're going to jump now back over to the altcoin index. And so we were looking at this also once again last week, and we were focused on this area of resistance that we have drawn here. And we notice now that we're somewhat in this area. And this is an indicative move of what we have happened to see, what has gone on with altcoins over the last few weeks. So this rally here is a direct inverse to what we have seen with what has happened with Bitcoin dominance falling. We've essentially have gotten the rally out of most altcoins, including Ethereum and Ethereum Classic, which have just done amazing numbers here in the past few weeks. So we want to continue eye to see if we are going to get that pump into this area, closer to the 23% on the Fibonacci retracement, which will give us an indication that we might be done with our relief rally. The overall market structure of the entire crypto space has not changed thus far. So we're just getting some relief, given that we have been pretty much oversold on any and all timeframes. So we want to keep an eye to see how price is respected in this area here, with the 23.6% fib retracement level being an area of resistance, which essentially can translate to the slow drift that we happen to see with Bitcoin dominance. So we're going to keep an eye on the altcoin chart, because that's going to be very, very much giving us insight to what it is that we can expect for this week even to come. So that is our altcoin index. And then this is a chart I wanted to throw in because I know that we've noticed that Ethereum has pretty much led this altcoin rally, and something very, very interesting that we want to keep an eye on, and it kind of sums up what we just saw with the Bitcoin dominance chart and the altcoin index chart, which is the Ethereum to Bitcoin pair. And so we had been in a pretty sideways. One can almost say that this is a oops. We can say that we've gotten price action to do some interesting things here with the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart. So notice let me get that out of there. Notice that we had this bottoming out pattern and a rally, and we broke out, and we've held this area of support, resistance that turned into support. And as of now, we have breaking out of there. So what is that really to tell us? That means overall, Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin, hands down. And that is indicative to all of the news to come. So for those who are unaware, Ethereum is going to complete its merge on September 16th. And that is why we are seeing such a large rally with Ethereum as well as Ethereum Classic, because this is a very big update, not just for Ethereum itself, but for the entire crypto market sector. So I would suggest to you to look into that and research it so you have a better understanding of what that really looks like. But this is the moment we have been waiting for, and we finally got it here in these last few weeks, the breakout pattern, which will give us indication to continue higher, which means overall, with the news in play, what's going on with the altcoin space, given that Bitcoin dominance continues to fall because investors and even institutions are looking at how to adopt utility-based tokens, that the market share is going here. And if that continues to happen, we expect to see more upside in Ethereum as well as alts. So it's not to say that this is going to happen tomorrow or this week, but this is an area that we're going to look at as long as these areas of resistance that has turned to support continues its bullish momentum. So we're going to keep an eye on Ethereum, the BTC chart, because it could be very, very insightful here in the near future. Excuse me, guys. Okay, now this is the wonderful chart we've been looking at, Bitcoin. So if we noticed here, we have had these numerous flag patterns, bearish flag patterns, which means that you would see price action fall, consolidate, and then continue. And we've had those same patterns here for the last few months. Excuse me. And when you look here, you can see that we're almost at the end of this pattern. And what could that tell us? Well, if it's coinciding with Bitcoin dominance falling, can we expect this pattern to complete, this flag pattern to complete, and we start to drop lower? Yeah, it's very possible. But with that drop, that can also mean that altcoins could follow, depending on the strength of Ethereum and the altcoin index itself, and or if there's any major news that's going to bring us there. But when we happen to look at next levels of support, it will be right underneath the area in which we rejected, which is around the $17,000 level. And so we want to see and pay attention to how the rest of the price action follows here. And if we get any bearish response, then we would like to see this breakdown happen. And once again, we're not saying that this can happen this week, but we're coming pretty close to this ending here. Just a matter of time and the response that we're going to get. So that's what I am keeping an eye on. We've had really much sideways trading from Bitcoin in comparison to surges in prices with altcoins. So we want to keep a very, very close eye on Bitcoin here this week to see if we are going to play out the rest of this pattern with the expected outcome of price going lower, and how our altcoins are going to respond to that price action. Okay, guys, and so next we're going to look at one of the coins that we went over last week, which was Hex. And we mentioned how we wanted to see price kind of come into this 0.6869 7-cent psychological level, and we did get that price action. And so now we are being met with some resistance here, given that there is previous areas of resistance turned into support in the past. And so there was a lot of activity here in this area before. So it did not surprise us that we were going to get some stalling here in this area. And so now Hex, it's really dependent once again on what happens with the Altcoin Index as well as Ethereum, if we're going to continue to see price surge. And what that can look like is if we were to continue that price surge, you know, this is really indicative to if Ethereum wants to continue running higher, then we can see Hex want to continue going higher as well. However, if we get a breakdown with Ethereum because Bitcoin is breaking down, then we can easily drop back lower too as well. So I always tell you guys, whenever you are met with support and resistance, you want to react after price action gives you the direction that you're looking for, rather it be trading or investing to actually move on the next action forward. So guys, for Hex, that's pretty much what we're looking for. We get a continued pump with Ethereum, then we expect to go up to the next level of resistance, which is around 9 cents. And then if we in inverse get bearish price action, then we expect price to come back lower. As well as we can also see some consolidation because it is a major level of resistance. Okay, guys, so that's Hex. All right, and now this was one of the coins in which one of our members asked for, which was Litecoin. Litecoin was one of those coins that did very well during the previous bear cycle. Sorry, the previous bull cycle, where we got up to about $300+. And this cycle in particular, we did not get that type of price action that we were expecting. We barely broke all-time highs this time around. And so now if we look at what is going on here, we've been holding this $41 level, and which has acted as support in the past. And now we're looking at a micro trend of this overall trend now and paying attention to how price is responding, in particular to this area. So we've had some bottoming out once again because Ethereum and altcoins have rallied here in the past few weeks. And we're sitting at this area of resistance now. And pretty much like Hex, if Litecoin makes the decision to pump because Ethereum is pumping, then we want to revisit this $78 level, which is a pretty good jump from price where it is currently right now. However, once again, if we see that downturn with Ethereum because Bitcoin is leading the way, then we can expect the outcome to be bearish. So it's really determined for, like I said before, if Bitcoin decides to go lower, then everything pretty much follows suit. If Bitcoin and Bitcoin dominance continues to be choppy and sideways, that's usually when we get the altcoin pumps. So if we get the sideways price action, then we will get the pump that we are looking for. And then that may be it for this relief rally. But we will keep eye on what's to come this week for Litecoin. But that's what I'm looking at. We're either going to visit the $78 level, maybe a pump to 80 if we get the positive continued bullish price action on alts. If not, then I expect price to pull back some before we make our next move. So that is Litecoin, guys. So next up, we're going to look at Uni, which was also another pick by our students. And so now we look at what's been going on here with Uni. So overall, let's see here, let's straighten this out. It's pretty much has been following the same trend as the other altcoins. And now when we're looking at what's going on here, much like Litecoin, much like Hex, we've seen the relief rallies because we've bottomed out at major areas of support. And so now until we see further bullish price action, then we can sideways consolidate and get one pop up here, which makes sense because if we look to the left, there's major area of resistance right in that area, right around $13. And so we know that this is capable of playing out if we get the follow through price action on Ethereum and the alts. And then our other scenario would be bearish price action, which means that we could come down and maybe trade sideways again, because this is a very nice pattern is starting to develop. And it's once again really just determined by Bitcoin itself and what direction it decides to continue to trade. But as long as Ethereum wants to continue going higher, it will tend to take the rest of the altcoin market with it. So this is the if then or scenario that I would like to see, which is if price holds here at this area of resistance and we get a pop to $13, $14, then that is a great move. However, if we do not get the follow through price action for bullish sentiment, then we can expect price to come down lower. So that is what we're looking at now for Uni. And our last one here, which was a bonus pick, we had made some really great gains in our group last year with Shib. And so I'm grateful that myself and our members were able to enjoy this rally when it happened. And so now something very interesting is happening right now again. And that is when we look at what has happened with Shib, just like before, we are sitting at that major level of support, that consolidating, constricting price action. So, guys, this is always a really good tip when you zoom out and you want to look at what is possible with price action. When you have price, constricting, consolidating for a long period of time, not really going higher, going lower, but just staying in a sideways trend, then you tend to see a massive spike rather to the upside or the downside. And in particular here, because this has acted as an area of support in the past, it proved to do exactly what it is that we were expecting, which was follow through with bullish price action. And so that is what we got today. Shib is up 35% on a day. And so what we would like to see is if this rally continues here, giving previous price action history, we want to see Shib do something like this, which would make the most sense. Given also, once again, alts want to continue higher because Bitcoin continues to trade sideways. But this makes the most sense. And so I always say, pay attention to what type of price action we get right here in these levels right now. If we go a little bit sideways for a moment and then experience our pop, that is totally fine. However, if not, and we get the opposite to happen, then we might get a little bit of retracement. But overall, this pattern that has played out in history could absolutely repeat here. So I say keep an eye on Shib. It's one of our members' favorite tokens, given that it does move very quickly and it can give you a really good ROI. So guys, that's it for this week's wrap up. And so what we reflect on going into this new week is that we've had really good weekly close on Ethereum and the alts. And so we could expect to see follow-up bullish price action for this week, but that also is determined by what price action we get from Ethereum and or if we continue with consolidation price action with Bitcoin itself. So keep an eye on these things. Guys, I will see you on next week when we take a look to see what has happened with our bias on both the altcoins and Bitcoin itself. Guys, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys on next week.